Okay, today I want to talk about a recent phenomenon that's been going on. A lot of people aren't aware of this, but the cases of cancer are cropping up in much younger people than in the past. Now, cancer is usually a disease that's much more common in older people. Now, when I say older, I'm talking about people that are older than, let's say, 60 years of age. Why is cancer more common? Well, it has to do with cellular mutations, DNA mutations, which are the root of cancer. As cells age, as you get older, the cell replication isn't as, let's say, as exact as it was when you were young, and there's a greater chance of cellular mutations that cause cancer. One example of this is prostate cancer in men. Now, a lot of urologists will tell you that almost every man, if he lives long enough, a lot of men don't know this, every man, if he lives long enough, develops prostate cancer. But he usually dies of something else. Now, what they mean by that is that there's something called intraepithelial neoplasia, which is an abnormality of cells in the prostate that starts pretty early. It could start as early as, let's say, 30 years of age. It doesn't do anything. It's just a precancer. It's kind of like polyp. It could turn into cancer. It's kind of similar to polyps in relation to colon cancer. Polyps are these growths in the colon that are considered precancerous growths that could possibly turn into colon cancer. The more polyps you have, the higher the risk for colon cancer, which is why when you get a colonoscopy, they remove any polyps that they find because they're considered precancerous lesions. When men, intraepithelial neoplasia is the appearance of early abnormal cells that have a possible chance of becoming cancer. But most men have this throughout their lives and they don't develop full-blown prostate cancer. Some men do for reasons that I'm not going to get into on this video. But the point I'm trying to make by telling you this preamble is that cancer was formerly a disease of older people. It didn't happen that often in young people. In very rare cases, because of genetic polymorphisms, which was kind of like genetic changes in certain genes called oncogenes that some people are born with. They have a higher potential of getting cancer at a younger age, and it sometimes shows up as in the early ages of even in the 20s or 30s. Now, they came out with a study that was published August 1st in a journal called The Lancet Public Health that took a look at cancer rates in the United States. The study investigated trends in 34 types of cancer. And what they found is that for 17 cancer types, Generation X and millennials had a higher risk than previous generations. Okay, now let me explain. What is Generation X? Generation X is anyone who was born between 1965 and 1980. So their current ages are between 44 and 59. Now, the millennials are older. They were born between 1981 and 1996. So their current ages are, the millennials are younger. Their current ages are between 28 and 43. So those are the two main generations where a higher incidence of cancer showed up. This study found that the 17 cancer types are more common and found that the incidence rate for some forms of cancer was 2 to 3 times higher than people from Generation X and Millenniums. So there was a study published in 2019 by the same authors who found the incidence of 8 types of cancer increased in younger generations compared to older generations. But no study has looked at both the cancer incidence and the cancer mortality by birth year, and this new study makes up for that deficit. Trends in cancer incidence in people aged 50 or younger mostly reflect an increased exposure to carcinogenic factors in early life or young adult. Remember, a lot of cancer, it doesn't happen overnight. It's a gradual process in most cases that shows up after a couple of years. So you can be exposed to, let's say, carcinogens when you're young, and they won't show up till you're a couple of years older. Now, in this study, the scientists used information from 23,654,000 people diagnosed with 34 types of cancer and 7,348,137 deaths from 25 cancers that were monitored between 2000 and 2019. They found an increased incidence in 17 of the 34 cancers in progressive younger generations. The specific type of cancers that went up include cardiac-gastric, which is a type of stomach cancer, cancer of the small intestine, estrogen receptive breast cancer, ovarian cancer, liver and intrahepatic bile duct in females, non-HPV associated oral interference in females, anal cancer in males. Kaposi sarcoma is a form of cancer that starts in the lining of blood and lymph vessels. Kaposi sarcoma also had a close relationship to AIDS. And when the AIDS epidemic occurred years ago, a lot of the people who were infected by AIDS developed Kaposi sarcoma. Colorectal cancer, endometrial cancer, gallbladder cancer, kidney and renal pelvis cancer, pancreatic cancer. Pancreatic cancer is the most deadly type of cancer. It has only a 5% survival rate after 5 years. Myeloma, which is a blood cancer, non-cardiac gastric cancer, another type of stomach cancer, testicular cancer, and leukemia, which is a blood cancer. The increased incidence in cancer was especially pronounced in cancers of the small intestine, thyroid, kidney, and pancreas. Compared with people born in 1955, the incidence in those born in 1990 was 2 to 3 times higher. Also in 5 cancer types, mortality also increased. In other words, people that develop liver cancer in women, endometrial cancer, gallbladder and other biliary cancers, testicular cancer, and colorectal cancer showed higher rates of mortality or death. So now, what is causing this sharp increase in cancer rates in younger people? The study wasn't really designed to explain it, but the researchers felt that obesity played a substantial role. Why would obesity stimulate cancer? In one word, inflammation. When you have a larger number of fat cells, your fat cells secrete over 100 different proteins, collectively called adipokines. Most of these adipokines have inflammatory effects, and what happens is inflammation is at the root of most causes of cancer. In other words, systemic inflammation is closely related to cancer. 10 of the 17 cancers listed in this study were associated with obesity. Since the 1970s, obesity has increased in all age groups, but the highest increase has been in younger people between the ages of 2 and 19. Other research shows that excess weight and obesity at a younger age are associated with an increased risk of 18 forms of cancer. Other factors besides overweight and obesity may also be involved, such as an increase in sedentary lifestyles, exercise, which I'll be talking about in a future issue of Applied Metabolics, my publication. Exercise helps to prevent a number of cancers. It does that by increasing immune response and also the release of chemicals in muscle called myokines and exokines that have anti-carcinogenic effects. Altered sleep patterns, when you don't get enough sleep, when defined as less than 7 hours of sleep, you depress the immune system. Certain parts of the immune system, such as killer T cells, function by destroying incipient tumor cells. In other words, they destroy tumors before they can spread and kill you. So if you don't get enough sleep, or you knock down your immune system and you open yourself up to getting cancer. And of course, then you have the environmental chemicals that are ubiquitous in the environment. Now, the Western diet that a lot of people consume, the refined diet that's high in saturated fat, refined sugar, refined grains, is also linked to increased cancer risk. A lot of these younger people, they eat a lot of these processed foods that are loaded with high fructose corn syrup, saturated fat, and those foods contribute to cancer. Evidence suggests that ultra-processed food increases body weight and obesity, but it's independently associated with the risk of certain cancers such as breast and colorectal cancer. Some cancers affecting the digestive system are not related directly to obesity, but what could be a factor is alterations in the gut microbiome. The gut microbiome is the population of various organisms such as bacteria, fungi, viruses, other organisms that reside in the large intestine that play a tremendous role in health maintenance and prevention of disease. The gut microbiome actually plays a role in absorption of protein, fats, carbohydrates. It also has a 90% interaction with the immune system. So if there's problems with the gut microbiome, such as an imbalance of the organisms in the gut microbiome, it's known as dysbiosis. It could vastly affect the immune response and open yourself up to cancer. It's an emerging field, so all the facts aren't in about the intestinal microbiome, other than the fact that it affects everything in your body from head to toe. I've seen some recent studies showing that certain intestinal bacteria can actually prevent obesity. I don't know. I don't think these were human studies. I think they might have been animal studies, but they're interesting studies nonetheless. But it illustrates how the gut microbiome can affect body composition. Now, there's another thing called epigenetics. Epigenetics involves the alteration of genes by outside influences. For many years, they thought that your genes determined your destiny. In other words, if you were born with certain genetic patterns, there was nothing you could do to alter them. However, in more recent years, the science of epigenetics emerged, which basically showed that you can actually alter the function of genes. In other words, you could turn on some genes and turn off other genes through, let's say, nutritional and exercise patterns. So epigenetic changes basically are changes to the expression of protein from DNA without changes to the DNA itself, which usually results from environmental factors. So their nutrition could definitely affect epigenetic changes in the body. I'm not going to go into that in detail in this video. It's a little bit too extensive, but I talk about it a lot in my Applied Metabolics publication. If you really want to know how epigenetics, it's good news actually, because just to give you one example, until the science of epigenetics was developed, they thought that if you, let's say, inherited certain genes for obesity, for a tendency to get fat, that was your fate. There was nothing you could do. No exercise, no diet, nothing would actually prevent you from getting fat. And the general idea or figure that was presented was that if you had one obese parents, your chance of getting obese yourself was 40%. If you had two obese parents, your chance of becoming obese was 80%. In other words, it didn't mean that you definitely had to get obese, but it meant that that you had a greater risk towards it because of these genetic factors. However, they now know, because of epigenetics, you can actually control the genes that favor obesity. In other words, you can turn them off. Again, that type of material is discussed in everyday language in my Applied Metabolics. Now, what about exposure to toxins? Environmental toxins have gone up in recent years. This could in large part explain why a lot of younger people are developing cancer. For example, the increased use of certain types of plastics act as environmental estrogenic compounds, for example. In other words, they act in the body like estrogen. Estrogen can stimulate certain types of cancer. There's other chemicals that environmental toxins that are associated with the development of cancer include aflatoxins. These are a type of fungus that develop on for example, peanuts and certain vegetables. Benzene, soot, arsenic, aristocolic acid, which is found in certain herbs. Nickel compounds, radon, thorium, trichloroethylene, vinyl chloride, wood dust. All of these things are environmental toxins that are also carcinogens. They could stimulate cancer. I think that's about it for this particular topic. In my applied metabolics, the two leading causes of death are cardiovascular disease and cancer. Now, some cancer rates have gone down, but cancer is still a difficult disease to control. But it can be controlled to a large extent, by exercise and diet. And in my applied metabolics, I discuss the latest research showing ways that you can control your risk of getting any type of cancer by adjusting your diet and exercise. And it's a little bit more complex than it appears on the surface. In other words, it requires a lot of explanation, and I go into the detail of how the mechanisms work. Again, it's in simple English. You don't have to have a science degree. You don't have to have a medical degree. I explain it, but the important point is that by reading this material, you could literally save your life or save the life of somebody you care about by offering them alternatives to acquiring various types of cancer. So basically, if you want more information about nutrition, exercise science, anti-aging research. Now, as far as anti-aging research, you can't, look, it's a personal pet peeve of mine. There's a lot of these videos I see on YouTube. You have a lot of these quacks. I'm going to call them quacks. Some of these guys have advanced degrees. Some of them are professors of genetics at Harvard University that lead you to believe that aging is kind of a disease. And in a way it is, but in other words, they not only say that aging could be stopped, but some of them go so far as to say that aging could be reversed. Now, I'm not saying it's not possible to reverse aging with future technologies. I'm not saying it's not possible. But the methodologies that they recommend today, or they talk about, are strictly theoretical, but they give false hope to people into thinking if they take this supplement, NMN, resveratrol, whatever, that they're going to suddenly stop or halt the aging process. And there's one word to explain that: bullshit. Bullshit. These guys have vested interests in pushing these products that are often on the payroll of various supplement companies, or in the case of one so-called scientist, he's developing a drug version of a over-the-counter supplement so he can make millions of dollars on it. I mean, these people cannot be trusted. And do not, this is a very important point, very important. Don't fully believe anyone simply because they have an advanced degree, PhD, MD, whatever. Just because they have the degree doesn't mean they're telling you the truth. In many, many cases, I wish it was only a couple, but in a large percentage of cases, these people are lying to you. They're pushing products that they're paid for by sponsors. Some of these guys are making millions on their products endorsements. Do you see any endorsements in my videos? Do you see me pushing any products? You'll never see that because I only tell the truth. But getting back to applied metabolics, which is the only thing I do push because it is 100% true, I also cover supplement science. I cover ergogenic aids, hormonal therapy, women's health and fitness. I cover more topics in applied metabolics than any other digital publication. It's all in-depth, written in plain English. I've been a professional writer for half a century. I have over 10,000 articles published under my name and a couple of pen names. But I know how to write. I know how to write for the public. I know how to communicate. And I guarantee you that no matter what your level of education, you'll get benefit from reading every issue of Applied Metabolics. It comes out once a month on the first of the month. It's not expensive at all. It costs less than a cup of latte at one of these expensive coffee shops. I was going to say it costs less than a newspaper. It's 33 cents a day. I mean, that's the last time I looked here in Los Angeles, I believe the Los Angeles Times is now selling for $2.60 an issue. That's the daily price. That's the last time I looked. The last time I bought just to give you an idea of inflation, the last time I bought the LA Times, it was 25 cents. And now it's $2. It's only a couple of years ago. And now it's $2.60. I like to read the newspaper, but I'm not going to pay $2.60 to read it. Anyway, so Uh, Subscribe today. Like I say, 30 to 40 pages, no advertisements, not pushing any products. As I said, I'm not associated with any supplement company, so I'm not going to lie and bullshit you into buying supplements so I can get this kickback money, you know? And by the way, anytime, here's a little tip for you. Anytime you see a video where you have the box under the video where it says, use this code to get 15 or 20% discount off so-and-so product, that person is being sponsored by the company that sells the product. They're getting paid good bucks to push their products. I would be very wary of any information they offer. And I'm not saying that all the information offered by these shills of supplement companies are completely wrong. A lot of it's good information, but you're never going to get the whole story. And the only way to get the whole story is to subscribe to Applied Metabolics. And you get the honest 100% truth based on my over 6 decades of experience and knowledge and constant study. It's at www.appliedmetabolics.com. When you subscribe, send me an email and I'll send you an invitation to join my private Applied Metabolics Facebook page, where each day I post new information on exercise, nutrition, and general health and medicine. I have an email portal on my Applied Metabolics website where current subscribers only can send me short questions about anything they read in Applied Metabolics or anything that they're curious about pertaining to nutrition and exercise, and I will happily answer their question in appreciation for their subscription. Obviously, this only applies to current subscribers. The non-subscribers, I appreciate you contacting me, but I only have a limited amount of time, and that's going to go to the people that support my work. In other words, my current subscribers. Also, feel free to join this channel, my Jerry Brainham YouTube channel. It's free, doesn't cost a dime. I post new videos every Tuesday. And also, if you think my videos are of any use, please spread the word. Let others know that if they want a channel where there's only 100% true information with no nonsense, and I'm not pushing any products, tell them to join my channel. Again, it doesn't cost them anything. All they got to do is go to YouTube. In the search box, just search for Jerry Brainham channel, and they'll find it. Right now, I think I have something like, what do I have? I have 462 videos at the time of me making this video. There's 462 educational videos on this channel. You're welcome to look at any of them. I'm sure you'll find information that you find quite useful. Again, I'm not big on video editing, so that's why you don't see any bells and whistles. And it's just me sitting in this, in this kind of little dark room here, or literally a talking head. I don't have the laughing faces. You ever see these videos where the guys suddenly they flash on a guy going, ah! I've always wondered about that. Why do you have to have a flashing, laughing face or somebody doing something stupid when you're trying to give out solid information? See, to my mind, that kills the credibility. I understand. I know what you're saying. It's for entertainment value, but I think the information aspect is more important. If you want entertainment value, watch an entertainment video. They're much more fun. And you know what I'm saying? So maybe one day if I find a way, maybe somebody with technical expertise who could help me to maybe put a little more bells and whistles in the videos, I'll do that. But right now I don't have the means to do that. So all I'm giving is pure information. So thank you for listening. If you want to have the best friend you'll ever have, go to your local shelter, adopt a dog. They're the best.